Stop picking a split. That's not your problem. Hey, my name's Chris McDowell. This is McDowell's Coaching. Welcome to the channel. Been a strength conditioning coach for over 22 years. Just here to give you some information for new guys starting off at the gym or anybody else that's having some struggles when they go to the gym. So if this sounds like you show up at the gym, you're deciding, is it a push day, is it a pull day, or is it a legs day? Meanwhile, some 19-year-old kid just walked by and has outlifted every single lift you've ever had in your entire life. So what should I tell you? That your split means absolutely nothing. It's never been your split. That's not your problem. So for your first 1 to 2 years in the gym, you should be focusing on 4 things in this exact order. And all of these things should be done in this order. If you skip one, you're going to be spinning your tires for the next 5 years. First one, skill. Second one, strength. Your third one is muscle that we all love. And the fourth one is going to be specialization. Which skill are you actually going to try to apply into the future? So number one of the 4 steps. First one on here is skill. Now I get it. Everybody wants to go to the gym and get a great pump. Trust me, I do too. We're also always chasing after soreness, but those should not be the things that you're looking for when you first show up at the gym. And when you say, Coach McDowell, what do you mean skill? It's just lifting weights. Well, there is a lot of setup and a lot of patterning that goes into your lifters that you admire on YouTube. They've spent a ton of time perfecting this skill. They're not just showing up there pressing the bar all willy-nilly. So when we talk about skill, we're gonna go through 4 patterns. So we have 4 main patterns when it comes to the gym. We have our pressing, we have our pulling, we have our squat patterns, and we have our hinge patterns. All of those will be the foundation so that you don't look like an idiot when you're at the gym in the future. Next one on here is tempo. There's a variety of speeds that you want to be able to lift depending on what type of lift that you're doing. Third, and probably the most important, is going to be your setup. All the people that you like on YouTube go through the same setup for their bench, squat, and deadlift every single time, whether they've got 700 pounds on the bar or they have an empty bar. This reinforces that you're doing the correct things all the time. And the last skill that you should be perfecting is bracing. Again, even under an empty bar, we should be always focusing on that we've got this core engaged in every single movement that we do. So how do I know this is the best step to start with? Because after 20 years of coaching, I used to take young kids that would come to me bench pressing only the bar and would all of a sudden be bench pressing 200 pounds after 1 summer of training with us. And it's not anything magical that we did. We just taught them to do these things in this order before they put on any amount of muscle. And these young athletes would come to me like they almost gained this magical amount of strength overnight. So if you right now are going to the gym and you're just rotating through exercises like a Tinder profile, you're not actually training. You should be doing the same exercises day in and day out until you get all of these down. So once you have the skill aspect down, the overlap then becomes you can start working on strength, which everybody loves. You can start telling your buddies and you can start telling your friends that you're now close to pressing 2 plates per side. Strength is our engine. Oftentimes we hear the phrase that form follows strength, meaning that if someone looks strong, they usually are strong. But strength isn't always built in the gym. I'd like to tell you that the barbell is the magical exercise for just getting stronger in everyday life. But we all have a friend that worked in the farm and worked in the fields who's stronger than an ox and shows up without ever lifting weights and pulls 315 pounds off the floor. That's because he's manufactured an amount of strength in his day-to-day life that carries over to here. So if you're not a manual labor guy or your family doesn't own a farm, this is where we're gonna build that strength. So all the fancy machines, and I know everybody loves a cable crossover, but we're gonna stick with 3 main exercises that are gonna carry over to everything. And those are the same that everybody tells you. 1, the squat, the deadlift or some type of pulling, and all your big pressing exercises. Once you nail all 3 of these down, all of those other exercises in the gym are going to just become second nature to you. The third thing on the list is your training capacity. Strength coaches in the know will often call this GPP or general physical preparation. This is the foundation of your house. Everyone likes the paint and the shingles and all the fixings inside, but anybody in the know will tell you that the structure of the house is what's actually gonna make this thing last. So early on when you're going to the gym, you've got this tiny little tank. You go to the gym, you drain yourself, you work out really hard, and you think, how on earth am I ever gonna get bigger with this? Early on training that is not organized always just drains and fills this tank on a day-to-day basis. If you spend time properly programming, our goal is to build a bigger tank so that we can hold more fluid and you are able to train more and heavier each and every single month or year that goes by. So this is building your engine, and you gotta think, we're putting a bigger engine in the machine. That means more muscle and more athleticism as the years progress. Next on the list here is muscle, the one you've been waiting for. Everybody wants to fill out their shirts and their sleeves. But in this order, skill, strength, and muscle, you'll find that muscle actually comes on pretty fast. Early on, however, you don't need drop sets, you don't need blood flow restriction, and you don't need endless pump sets at the end of your workout. Spending time with those big lifts with time under tension, proper recovery, sleep, and eating are gonna show that your muscles actually look like they're growing on an every week basis. So it may seem like a long time, but if you're pressing 135 pounds for 8 reps in week 1, and 8 weeks later, you're now pressing 160 for 8 reps, your chest has no choice but to grow. And that just comes from big lifts with good progressive overload. And finally, specialization. After you spend a few years doing those other steps that we just covered, this is where your split actually earns its place. So the things that we all like to do in terms of drop sets, giant sets, and cluster sets, this is where you actually get to put those into place. Then you can decide which avenue you want to go down. Powerlifting, Olympic lifting, bodybuilding, and CrossFit. But all of these will require you to have had that general physical preparation, skill, and strength that we talked about in order for you to be successful in these 4 examples. This is where you can start decorating your house. The problem is most beginners want to start in this position. So quit asking yourself, what should my split be, or do I have the best split? And ask yourself these 4 questions. Am I getting more skilled? Am I getting more strength? Am I getting more muscle? Am I getting better capacity? And if you've answered yes to all those questions, don't worry about it, you're on the right track. And if you have any questions, and if you want more information about the topics that we just discussed, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.